Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Tanks with Ngani Titan. While I have been mostly playing the ISU 152 and the A44 and taking advantage of the 25% bonuses for XP and silver for playing Soviet tanks, having qualified for the Soviets on Tank Bowl, I've also been playing the IS-3 and I've had a few pretty good games. We're here in Kasserine, and this is a pretty strong tier 10 game. So I've decided that I'm not going down to Wadi. The IS-3 is a pretty good tank, and it's pretty decent. And I'm quite happy enough to take an IS-3 and take on a tier 10 tank if I have to. But I don't want to take on a lot of them. And if you go into the Wadi, you'll frequently meet the top tier heavy tanks, and you'll meet a lot of them, and a lot of the top tier heavy tanks and the tank destroyers have main armament. They can easily overmatch the armor on top of the turret, on top of the gun on the IS-3. So I don't want to expose myself to that, plus the fact that you can get sniped on from the top of the sides of the Wadi, and they would again be shooting into the top of the turret and the engine deck, which would again be relatively weakly armoured. So I'm coming up this side, and as it turns out, in spite of my sort of resolution or my choice, there are top tier enemy tanks out here in the open. We have a T110E4 over there, and there was a T110E5 spotted earlier on. There he is there, pushing forward. Now, initial shot there went completely wild, and there seems to be a considerable force, shall we say, engaged on the high ground there just to my right. So I thought I might come up and join in at the edge of that fray. Because frequently I have seen our team are definitely outnumbered in this region of the map, and I have seen situations like that develop much to the disadvantage of my team. And while I was coming up, I got spotted, which is not too surprising, but I also got a wallop from that T110E4. He removed essentially half my hit points, pretty much. Now I do get a spotter revenge there, and the T110E5 is out to get an unmerciful pounding. But I'm now kind of stuck here. That T110E4 has me pinned down. If I cross the open ground and he has loaded and he's looking in my direction, he will finish me. Plus there are a number of top tier tanks above there in the rocks in front of me. So I'm just peeking around here, waiting for an opportunity really. I just peek around a bit further. So you gotta get a slap of that E4, and he spots me and I'm targeted, so as soon as I see the target come up, I just back off. I can't really afford another hit at this stage of the game, but I see that STB-1 making moves, and I think, okay, there's an opportunity here, and we end them, which is a nice advantage to our team. So the pattern goes out to annoy the T-57 Heavy. There's an AT-15 coming along as well, which is more my speed, although at this range, trying to put a shot through the AT-15, I think my premium rounds, which I'm actually firing, would penetrate him pretty much anywhere on the front. But I was trying to snipe the commander's hatches, and while I was reloading, I spotted the T-57 Heavy losing it completely with the pattern and coming out, and I managed to get a nice shot at him in the cleft of the rocks there, and if he stays there, I'll get another one. So he decides to back off, but now he's got very little health, and I presume he's reloading, and we track him, and that's it. So that, I think, was very valuable. That is 2 top tier enemy tanks. Now, I won't claim credit for the whole lot, but like, it was more their fault than anything else. Now this T110E4 comes charging forward. I never really understood what he was trying to do there. He was well back at this stage of the game, and then he just rushes down here into 3 or 4 enemy tanks, and there's no way he was going to get where he wanted to go from there. He would have been better off pushing back towards his allies that are still out there on the western side of the map, or If he really wanted to intervene on this side of the map, he should have probably joined that AT-15 much earlier. To move that late was kind of pointless, because all he did was exposing himself to the initially to the Patton and to the rest of us that were behind him. And as we advance up this side of the map, we see there's quite a few enemy tanks remaining on this side of the map. Now, I don't think they were very effective over here. I don't think they had a lot of clean shots at anything, and they'd probably been more use if they came up this side of the dunes and actually had engaged us when we were fighting in the centre of the map. Now, that AMX 5120 was just too juicy a target to ignore. I was kind of worried about what the E75 was doing behind them. The E75, I wouldn't be a one-shot kill, but he would still take a substantial amount of my remaining health. But he didn't pay any attention to this side of the fight, which again, I don't know what, well, I suppose there was plenty of other targets and he had other things on his mind, but again I think probably suffered a little bit from not quite sure what to do and finished up not doing anything properly. One of the things you'll find sometimes when things start going wrong is that people don't have a clear plan. I've had it happen to myself. That when you're driving around without a clear notion as to what you're supposed to be doing, you finish up not doing much of any great effectiveness at all. Now, I was hoping for a side shot on the Jagdpanzer E100. However, just as I was about to line up for the shot, he noticed that I was here and he ended me rightly before I had done any more damage. And that was a pretty substantial win on our side. So, we didn't make a lot of money there because we fired a lot of premium rounds. However, we still made a profit. 2,877 damage, came first by experience. For a bottom tier tank, it was pretty good and a very strong tier 8 game. Didn't do the most damage in our team. That was the T110E4, which didn't survive. That Patton did pretty well as well. In fact, most of our team did pretty well and have a decent enough scores. Probably got more than one shot in anyway. The enemy team didn't do so well. The AMX 5120 and the Jagdpanzer E100 seemed to be the best of them. There was a Death Star out there as well that got at least two or three rounds in. And that seems to be pretty much it on the enemy side. In fact, it's interesting to note that T-57 did rather poorly. And if you look down near the bottom, the T110E4 did 788 damage, which was probably the hit he got on me, and he hit nobody else. And if you look at my own performance, you'll notice, okay, 13 shots fired, 9 direct hits, 8 penetrations. I'm happy enough with that considering the ranges that I was operating at. I didn't block anything, but the 2 times I was hit by top tier tanks with pretty big guns, so I wouldn't really expect to block their shots. So, if you enjoyed the video, I hope you consider giving it a like, and if you haven't already done so, please consider giving the channel a subscription. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you again soon.